Now, I personally love building much as the next person, but I also love cooking in real life and I also love storytelling in The Sims. So I thought, why not combine all three passions of mine, make a brand new shell challenge? But for my challenge is to build a house for a food influencer in The Sims 4, utilizing the kitchen clutter kit, Home Chef Hustle, and a bunch of other packs in The Sims 4 and see what I can come up with. So like I said before, I love building, I love food, but I also love storytelling. That I wanted to do a brand new shell challenge just because we're fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And at the time of recording this video, we have hit over $7,000 raised in less than 2 weeks, which is kind of wild to me because last year we raised over 8.7 thousand in a month. And we're getting very close to our highest goal we've ever reached for St. Jude. But I am so grateful and so appreciative that we're able to do this every single year in the month of May, raising money for the kids of St. Jude, but also the family so that they don't receive a bill ever for the duration of their treatment. And I am just so excited to do these fun videos, these fun streams, do parent trivia with my parents, and do wacky crowd control stuff. But if you want to donate to St. Jude and help our campaign to be even higher, I will leave a donation link down below in the description. But for this gel challenge, I wanted to do something really fun in terms of what I love to do, but then also kind of at the same time, what St. Jude does at the same time. Because what I found so interesting, because every year I go to the St. Jude Play Life Summit at, St. Jude in Memphis, Tennessee. And what I find so fascinating is that when these kids are going through treatment every single day, or sometimes multiple times a day, they're always looking for something, new in terms of food. Sometimes their appetite is not what it used to be, and they need something different to satisfy their hunger. And what's fun is that the chefs at St. Jude make what the kids want. So if a kid wants Fruit Loops with grilled cheese with mayo on top, they'll make that. They will literally make the food to the kids' desire. And I love that stuff. And what I find so much fun is that food is so fascinating. You can make it how you want, as much as you want, in in different sizes, different shapes, whatever it might be. It's the way you make the food from the beginning to the very end. And I've always loved cooking in the kitchen. My very first thing I've ever made in the kitchen was scrambled eggs, because I feel like scrambled eggs is probably the easiest thing to make. You got one egg or two eggs or five. You scramble it up, put it on the pan, and then scramble it how you want. You can make an omelet, you can make scrambled eggs, you can make it over easy. There's different variations you can do it from. And what I find fun with The Sims 4 with cooking and making videos and storytelling is that one, Bob Pancakes, the chef, the master chef McGee he is, we love him, but we also hate him at the same time for many different reasons. If you know, you know. But I like that with cooking, there's so many different recipes from all around the world that were integrated into The Sims 4, because every kind of pack that we get that has a world, there's always a new recipe or several recipes that your Sims can learn, but then adding in other packs that have a actual literal cookbook where we can make these recipes. Like for instance, the new Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack included the family recipe book where we can make family recipes and then pass that down to other people, other people in our family, our household, and even just tie that into, I don't know, anything. I find the kitchen is the heart of the home. You can make it as big or as small, as lively, as scary as you really want. There's so many kitchens in different shapes and sizes around the world where people can come together, make one singular dish, but it's the enjoyment that you get out of it, of the company that is in your home, whether it's a friend, your mom, your dad, your sister, your cousin, your pet rock, even your dog named Randy Joe, like my dog Randy Joe. There's only one Randy Joe, okay? Yes. But no, I just find the whole kitchen clutter kit was was so good. I felt like it was needed personally. One, I love organization. I've done one video on my vlog channel where I organized my parents' pantry to my liking, mostly, of getting these containers from online and then having labels and then labeling it like pasta or, whole wheat flour or peanut butter or whatever it might be. I love an organized kitchen, an organized pantry. I will literally do whatever I have to do to make the kitchen functional, but also at the same time just unique. And I watch a lot of pantry videos, a lot of cooking videos actually. And Khloe Kardashian, I think we all know her at this point. The Kardashians are very famous for a lot of different things. But Khloe Kardashian's pantry is like my dream pantry. So organized, well laid out, from the jars to the organization in the shelves or in the drawers underneath. Everything is all color coordinated. And I love that stuff. So I would love to have a pantry like that one day. I probably won't have that many things, but I like the idea of doing something like that one day. And then like looking at people's kitchens from like Pinterest or from different videos, like Kayla's kitchen where she's done like cooking videos on like stream. I love her sage green kitchen. I love the countertops. I love the cabinets. I love the fridge. I love the stoves. I love all that fun stuff. And then Rosanna Penzino, I loved her kitchen. So wonderful. And there's so many different people on the internet who has cooked in their kitchen, whether it was in an apartment or in a studio or anywhere actually. It's always so interesting to me how people can make something big but in a small place or vice versa. And I've always found like the more recipes that we get in The Sims 4, the better because then you can craft how you want in the kitchen. Like I focused majority of my time in the kitchen because I'm making a house for a Sims in the food influencer. And with Get Famous, you could be famous from literally anything in The Sims 4 at this point. You make one video, bada bing, bada boom. We have two drones in The Sims 4, a one that's just like more on the lower end side, like costing wise for simoleons. And then you have like this round looking drone. You can take video drone footage of like the neighborhood or have the drone follow your sim around wherever they are at. I think it's like probably the best thing ever because let's say, for example, you have your drone, you're in your kitchen, you're yapping your lips off, cooking up your food on your stove, grabbing the ingredients, chopping it up, and then you upload the video and you call it your first cooking video. You post it. And then most of the time, there are times where your sim might get nominated for like best video or I don't know, like best dress or being like the nice sim or the best music you publish somewhere. I don't know. But I've always found it so much fun because I love Get Famous for the whole fame system on how you can kind of integrate whatever you want to The Sims and win an award or get nominated for an award. But then also tying in Home Chef Hustle with all that fun stuff and then kitchen clutter. And I think also just the variety of packs, the for rent pack, growing together, even like what was it, Snowy Escape, and then Island Living, and then all the base game updates we've had overall have integrated like different cultures of food. And what I love is that whenever you hover over a piece of food on the fridge, it'll tell you a brief description of that food from that culture and sometimes in that language. And I love that. I may not look at all the recipes because one, my Sims are fire prone. They will start a fire at any chance they can get. But whenever my Sims max like their cooking skill or their gourmet cooking skill, I can look at the list of things that they've made or the list of things that they can learn. But then even tying in the whole idea of the family recipe book, I can choose what ingredients I want, what kind of like little special perk I want to add in because business and hobbies added in I think I think it was like personal touch was an actual cooking mastery perk that you get. And I always found that so much fun and so much cool. And I'm a family game player. So having ways where my Sims can pass down things to like their children or their grandchildren or somebody they just know that live in their household, I always find that so much fun. And I talk about it all the time. If you don't watch my gameplay videos, you should. I don't have many, but I've got a bunch in the backlog that will be uploaded soon. But my favorite current household is the O'Connors. I talk about them like they're like literal people. In my eyes, I feel like they are. But Aspen Marie O'Connor, she is like this. Mother of the year. She is like, she has almost 4 kids at this point. She's pregnant with her fourth and last child. She's getting married very soon. She's rebuilding her relationship with her father. She has her godmother nearby in Newcrest. Her son, her oldest son, is going to university very soon. And I actually built a university dorm specifically just for him. So that way he can live there, live on campus. He's dating Atlas Michelson from Growing Together. It's just like all coming together. And I want Aspen to have like some friends at least. I've made a couple of Sims here and there of like trying to do a college reunion. And I think, if I can remember correctly, I don't think I have all the Sims like on this, like in the save file. So I'm missing, I think, like maybe like one or two Sims that will be needed for Aspen's college reunion. Just kind of like a fun little get together, hanging out, yapping about the good old days. What's life been like for you in the past like 20 years or like 10 years or whatever? Because at this point, Aspen's like almost like 43 years old if you're going to put into like real life years. So she's having like a pregnancy that's like very high risk. But I will say I'm very excited to kind of see her navigate, her middle age years and kind of go down that path. And she's getting some gray hairs. It's just like she's like my pride and joy. I didn't see her when she was a baby, but I remember seeing her firstborn, Winston Jordan O'Connor, when he was a literal baby. It's I don't know if you've ever had this in your Sims life, whether it was from The Sims 1 to now, I don't know. If you ever had like a Sim that you've seen who literally grew up from birth and you're just seeing them age up as time goes by to being a toddler, a child, a teen, a young adult. They go off to university, maybe. There's so many interesting keys to a Sim's life that you can either help or hurt, depending on how you technically play. I always want my Sims to succeed in life, and I want them to experience life that they've never experienced before, whether it's traveling to a different, world in The Sims or trying out a new skill or writing music, whatever it might be. I want them to like experiment and not be afraid to just do something like that's like out of their comfort zone, but I want them to like push their limits to the best of their ability without getting burnout. Because I've only had a few Sims who have experienced burnout and it was not fun. But I always try to tie in like whatever the game gives me, I try to weave into the storyline. Like recently, one of my Sims just got laid off from their job. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's just lovely. That's great. I love that for me. Sure, let's go with that. But they've delved into something new, and that is cooking. And I should have explained it earlier in the video, but I'm going to do it now. The Sim who actually lives here is a laid off chef who used to work for Nancy Landgrab, but then got fired from that job and then got another job at like a local restaurant and then got laid off because due to like budget cuts and they weren't really getting paid that much and it's a lot of income was not coming through for that restaurant, so they got laid off. And now they are doing their passion of making videos and making cooking content of teaching others people how to make their own recipes from home without having to go to the end of the earth and spend a lot of money on groceries. And I think the fun thing about this is that one day it'd be kind of cool if they could make some type of like brand for themselves. They're kind of thinking about of making the brand of making not stationary products but like cookware products um like pots and pans and spatulas and utensils, things that they can use in their home, but then also making not a meal kit delivery service because that just sounds outrageous and expensive, but also thinking to how can they tie in their love of cooking, but also love of homegrown cooking. So I added in a bunch of like lemon trees, apple trees, a lot of different produce in their backyard. So they don't really go to the grocery store that much unless they like need seeds to grow certain things, but then again they use what they have at home. So they have like apple trees, lemon trees, pear trees. They have a chicken coop. They also have a flock of birds, a rabbit's home, and I think they have like some other stuff. They do have like some mushrooms like laying around their house just for pure decoration. I was thinking about putting this in Henford on Bagley at first because the idea of homegrown cooking, outdoorsy, it just made sense. But I wanted to put it in Willow Creek just because I find Willow Creek a very safe place. And I'm trying to like jazz it up a little bit more of adding in a community garden of some type. And ever since we got growing together, I wanted to kind of recreate a recreational center. Sometimes like a big one or a small one, and I have yet to do one, and I'm trying to decide how I want to make it look in the end. So I'm not entirely too sure. But this is where I added in the chicken coop and the three plots of gardening beds. So I added in like random stuff like some lemons, some pears, some basil, like just random stuff that you could use and like regrow over time. And having the fact that we have all these different like seedlings is so cool. And I've learned a lot from like playing The Sims 4 for the past 10 years, but also like Sims in the past 25 years of like thinking, wow, there's a lot of things I just did not know existed until I actually played with that feature. Like recently, I replayed The Sims 3 World Adventures for the very first time in a long time and played through almost everything. And I forgot how good The Sims 3 World Adventures is. And there will be a gameplay video this week that you'll see. But I just find like this the whole going back to cooking idea is that cooking, food, recipes, we need more of it. I would love to see different varieties of recipes and foods and even ways to cook your food because there are different ways we have with Island Living, that little fire pit thing from Sulani. We can cook in that. We can cook in the cauldron with Realm of Magic. Home Chef Hustle adds in a lot of new appliances. And then the standard base game, like cooking on the stove and things like that, even the grill. But having new ways to like cook in The Sims 4 would be so lucrative. One, to gain experience of cooking, but also just fun ways to do storytelling differently. Of like, oh, I cooked my food from a pot to a campfire, or I made everything by hand. So I want to be able to have like some type of like that experience in my Sims playthroughs one day, and I hope we do get that because it'll only go up from here, where it'll give us more variety of content to do through gameplay, storytelling, and just overall just general funness. What I'm gonna do is go into the game and show you all the build in real time because I have a lot more to yap about and I really, really like this build a lot. And I just want to just have fun and just hang out with you all for a short few minutes in the real-time tour. So now that we're in the game, this is what my shell looks like. And I'm really proud of how it turned out because I did this all in one stream, which is very rare for me to actually build and finish a build on stream because I love to yap more than anything. But I wanted to make sure that this house was one bedroom, one bathroom, with a nice, good looking outside. So I focused a lot more on exterior design and also interior design as well. But I wanted to add in like a basketball court. I wanted to add like a little Jeep, even though it's not functional. I also wanted to make it very eco-friendly. So I added in like solar panels. So that way we have reduced bills over time. Because being a chef, content creator, all working from home, them bills add up. So more eco-friendly, the better. But then I also added in all these really cute little mushrooms along the pathway and these little grass thingies. They're all from Debug from Cottage Living, but they just make the whole ground look more lifelike and more exciting. So I wanted to add them in all throughout the build. I also added in some like firefly, like effects that will be in live mode that you'll see. And then I also added in these two trash bins from Businesses and Hobbies. And then back here we have our chicken coop, our flock of birds, and then our array of produce that will be growing over time. And I also have never seen this bush in debug, but it looks so nice and it complements the back area a little bit better, more than I expected it to be. And I'm trying to play around with a lot of my landscaping to kind of be a little bit more different. And I kind of like that I'm experimenting with it a little bit more because usually I'll just go with the standard tree, bush, and shrub and call it a day. But I really like how this turned out. I also added in like a little picnic table over here with some drink trays. And then over here we have our grill. And then on the inside is like the main event. But as you kind of walk in, you have your entryway, which is kind of decked out with a lot of clutter. And this food influencer loves like cooking, loves collecting, goes to farmers markets, goes to garage sales, any type of sale, market, whatever it might be, they'll go to and grab. So I wanted to make sure like that this table right here had a lot of little knickknacks and clutter. They have like their phones, some change, some mug, magazines, the cute little mini plants, some envelopes, their mirror, and of course their book print. And then I also added in their bike into the inside because I know sometimes people like to add in their bicycles on the inside in real life, but then also in the Sims. So that touch of realism with a touch of Sims-ness to it, it kind of made sense. But then I also have their little yoga mat over here and a little potted plant. Now, this right here actually came with the new restoration workshop kit that we got, and it's completely functional, so your Sims will able to like repair it if it breaks. So it is really nice that we have this like touch of realism. And then over here is the main event where the magic happens, the kitchen, the heart of the home. I wanted to make sure that this kitchen had every single appliance you can think of, but also giving your Sims enough counter space to like actually physically cook on. So I wanted to add in a sprinkle of growing together, a sprinkle of home chef hustle, restoration workshop, and also kitchen clutter, of course. So I added in the mixing bowl, the pizza oven. I also added in the coffee machine and microwave from the restoration workshop kit. I added in the pressure cooker from the for rent pack. And the sink came with kitchen clutter. Like, kitchen clutter is my favorite kit as of right now, even though it's new, so I'm a little bit biased because I love cooking and I needed more kitchen related stuff. So having this is my new personality, but I wanted to make sure it was fully decked out with all the things. It got the dishwasher, cutting board, some random like decor items that you can use. I also added in all of the pantry stuff from kitchen clutter. I have some large bins and small bins, cookie jars, some grocery bags, a digital cookbook, and then some fruit baskets, and then some things down here. But then over here, I have their living room space where they can kind of wind down from like the kitchen, bedroom, and overall life. And I also wanted to include things that were from their past life and like personal things that I would love to see in a living room. So I added in a bookcase, their nice Insta camera, the art frame TV, their soccer team playbook from university, a little candle, a soccer ball, and a guitar. But then I also added in this nice groovy sofa because it looks so cute and it kind of complements the space with the color scheme. And I really like how small the space is because it doesn't feel too overwhelming, but it also feels homey at the same time. But then over here is their nice little bathroom. Now, I used the sleek bathroom kit that we got with Cybulet a couple of months ago, and I really like that kit. I didn't think I was going to use everything from that kit at first, but now I see the appeal, and now I feel like my bathrooms are starting to look a little bit better because bathrooms are not my strongest suit, as we all know. But for the last and final room is their bedroom, which I feel is my favorite room minus the kitchen, mainly because they have a nice brick accent wall on this side, a wood accent wall on this side, and then overall the general sage green color with sage green, black, brown, and a little hint of white here and there. It just worked. And I love how it looks without being too over the top. And I just like the space. Something about sage green, it just speaks to me and it feels alive without being too in your face, if that makes sense. It's very toned down with a hint of relaxation. So their bed, their rug, and their sofa is like a hint of sage green, but their dresser is black. This nice sculpture is black, frames are black, and then this art print has a brown dark border with a hint of green with their plant. So it complements the space without being too much. But since they are a Sims food influencer and they make videos, I have to add in the video station from Get Famous, and then add in the gamer chair from the Cozy Gamer Kit from Little Simsy. The little space has to be a lot without being too much, if that makes sense. And of course, when I do gameplay, I'm gonna upgrade this so it has a better quality camera, a ring light, and also a better microphone so your Sims can actually make better quality videos, especially if they're cooking in the kitchen. They're gonna need a little something something. But with all that being said, I do hope you all enjoyed it. If you want to download this build and also do my shell challenge, I will leave all the stuff down below in the description, along with the donation link if you want to donate to my campaign for St. Jude, as always. But with that being said, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!